heifer, the red heifer is now in a secret location, and they're preparing, guys. They're getting ready for when the red heifer will need to be sacrificed for the dedication of the third temple. There is now a serious movement taking place. Now, I'll give you more information about that in just a moment. Are you seriously ready for this prophecy alert? I said prophecy alert. First of all, though, let me just say real quickly, guys, seriously, www.nightsolarlight.com. That's www.nightsolarlight.com. Crime rates are rising across certain cities in the United States of America. It's never been more important than now to do what you can to protect your family. Actually, that's why I have the Night Solar Light ultra bright floodlights installed around my house. Why? Because first of all, you don't need to run any wiring or nothing. It's solar paneled, solar charged, no batteries, no electricians. Just put it up around the house and let the sunlight give it the energy it needs. Matter of fact, this Night Solar Light ultra bright floodlight are also motion detectors lights you can easily install anywhere. These lights are effective at preventing your family from being targeted by, and it will scare off the would-be burglars or Antifa or somebody. Plus, they're solar powered, so no batteries or outlets or wires are required. Are you serious? I am so serious. Seriously, get your Night Solar Ultra Bright floodlights, and they're 52% off plus free shipping. What? And they're going fast, guys. Go to www.nightsolarlight.com. That's www.nightsolarlight.com. You'll be glad you did. Okay, let me just tell you right now, this is incredible information, but the red heifer has been put in a secret location, and now a rabbi has just been sent to inspect the red heifer in the secret location there in Israel for use for the third temple. Guys, UAE signs an agreement, signs a covenant with Israel. Bahrain is getting very close to doing a covenant with Israel. These are peace covenants. And guys, then you have Morocco, you have Oman, Saudi Arabia. The UAE just signed it. There's others that are talking to Israel. It's incredible what's happening. We're in the process now of the signing of the covenant with many. Matter of fact, the rabbi, according to reports, it is a ritual law that Hashem has commanded. Instruct the Israelis to bring you a red heifer without blemish, in which there is no defect and on which no yoke has ever been laid upon it. Okay? Now, here's what's happened just in the last couple days. Rabbi Azaria Ariel traveled to an undisclosed location ranch in Israel to lead the Temple Institute efforts to raise a red heifer for the performance of the commandment of producing the purifying of ashes of the red heifer. He recently inspected the current red heifer candidates and shared their status. There's 2 red heifers right now that are the leading candidates to be used. They are both, one of the 2 are more mature candidates and is still very viable, even though it has a few hairs which aren't sufficiently red enough. They are red, but there is no white hairs or no black hairs on this heifer as required by Jewish law. Now, the 2 new candidates were also born earlier this month in 2020, and they are currently viable, but they just were born. So they need to grow a couple years. But the ordinances of the red heifer is described in the word of the Lord. I want to read this for you so that you'll understand, because I've had people say to me, Pastor Begley, why are you even bringing up the red heifer? That's a Jewish tradition. I said, no, it's not. It's a biblical commandment whenever you're dedicating the temple. And yes, even though the Jews had the tabernacle for many years in the wilderness, Moses' tabernacle, carrying the Ark of the Covenant around. Then when they finally, even 469 years, the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant was in Shiloh. Finally Solomon got to build the temple, and so they had to follow what it says to do in Numbers chapter 19. Now, but they had to do this even before they built a temple, when they had the tabernacle, when Moses was around. Here's what it says in Numbers chapter 19. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came a yoke. And so they brought it to the priest Eleazar, that he may bring her forth into the camp, and there she could be sacrificed before the camp. The Bible also says they will take her blood with his finger and sprinkle her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, with her skin, her flesh, and her blood, and with her dung shall she burn. Now, the priest shall then take a cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, he shall bathe his flesh in water, and afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the evening time. And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the evening. So this is a very significant process in the dedication and the sanctification of God's tabernacle or temple, when the temple was built. Now, if you want to know how many times the red heifer has been burned and the ashes, the heifer has to be completely burned, and you save the ashes. And what they would use the ashes for, the priest would sprinkle into water, okay, for the purifying of the water. And you do the little sprinkle on this one, little sprinkle from time to time. It takes a long time to use up all the ashes of a heifer. And whenever the ashes start getting kind of low, about a third of the ashes left, they start looking for another red heifer that meets this qualification so that they can do it again. And then they mix the ashes of the new heifer that was just sacrificed with the ashes of the old heifer. They mix it, and that carries on the covenant with God. Now, while I was in Israel, I spent a lot of time meeting with different rabbis about this process, because Vendell Jones, and that's where the movie Indiana Jones came from, when Vendell Jones was looking for the cave that you can find in the book of Maccabee, in the Maccabees, and he found the map that said there's a cave, and that buried in the cave was the sacred incense and the ashes of the purification. So he was looking for the box with the remaining ashes of the red heifer. He did find the ark. He did find the sacred incense that goes on the golden altar. He did find that, and if you dig a little further, there's supposed to be the red heifer ashes, but they stopped him after he found it. And I sat down and met with the 4 other archaeologists that discovered the sacred incense in Israel in 1992. And that's why the movie came out, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. The truth is, it was Vendell Jones and 4 archaeologists from Indiana. That's why they end up in the movie. Harrison Ford was called Indiana Jones. Well, so I'm just throwing this out here. The 4 that helped, now Vendo Jones has died. He's went on. But the 4 who helped him are still alive, and they live in Indiana. And I went and met with all 4 of them on a Sabbath day, on a Saturday. I wanted to put them on television. I wanted to interview them on camera, but they refused to do that. They've remained anonymous for all these years. Heidi, through her great research, found them, but they did not want to go on camera. But they did tell us the whole story, and actually they had a bottle, some of the sacred incense from from the Second Temple, from King Herod's temple, from 2,000 years old. They still had some of it. They let them have some of it, and they found 1,500 pounds of the sacred incense. They gave them a bottle of it, and they then gave Heidi a little bit in a little bitty bottle as a gift. So, and we have that. So that's quite significant. But so you'll know, this situation of the red heifer is so important because it's only been done 9 times in the history from Moses till now. It's only been done 9 times. They would like to have that box of ashes so they can offer another heifer and mix the ashes with the ashes they already had. They would like to do that, but if they can't find that box, or if it's never brought forward, they will use a fresh heifer that they choose. So how close are they to building the 3rd temple? I'll tell you how close. The UAE just signed a covenant with Israel. There's 5 other Arab nations that are about to sign also with Israel, and they've got 2 red heifers that are ready to go. One is still qualifying, and they've got 2 more that were just born that at the moment would qualify, but they haven't grown up yet, and they have them in secret location. So we're getting ever so close. This is a prophecy alert. A prophecy alert. We are getting close to the building of the 3rd temple and the second coming of Jesus Christ. The rapture, are you serious, is so close. We're living in the end times. This is the end of the world. And people don't even realize how close it is. Now, if you just studied the red heifer process, you would see how close. And the peace deal and the covenant with many, you would see how close. But you have to have a 3rd temple. And that has not been built yet. But look for it to come. Now that the covenant with many is starting to process as the nations are starting to line up. Folks, it's coming together. Are you serious? The King of Kings is coming. You don't want to be left behind. Give your life to Jesus Christ. He is on his way.